Good morning and welcome to the DBS Major Morning News. In the headlines, education reform amongst preschools and primary school level students to get underway in September. Jamaica's Prime Minister urges gang members to leave crime, and Iran warns it will target UK, US and France bases in the region if they help defend Israel. Welcome to the DBS Major Morning News. The details of these and other stories coming up.
Reach out. DBS will be there. DBS News.
Welcome to the DBS Major Morning News for today, Saturday, June 14th, 2025. I am your presenter this morning. My name is Joseph Fadul. Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has announced that education reform amongst preschools and primary schools levels will get underway in September. The government of Dominica held a series of consultations with education stakeholders at the State House Conference Center on Friday.
We met with principals and senior teachers of all the primary schools in Dominica at 10:30 in the morning. That went on until about 1:30 in the afternoon. It was very constructive engagement. There were very positive suggestions coming out from them in respect to what we believe the education reform should look like. And the good thing is there is agreement that the system needs to change a bit. To what extent and to what, that will be fashioned in the next few weeks. And from 2:30, we met with representatives of the PTAs across the country, and that itself was also very constructive. Obviously, there is clear positive view that there must be changes. They made suggestions on what they believe that those changes should comprise of. And the next step is to have the national symposium where we invite a wide cross-section of stakeholders, and of course put in a national team to look at how do we fashion that reform that will take effect in September 2025. Now, reform is an evolving process, so we will not be able to implement every aspect of what has been proposed in September. But the most important thing is for us to start. The reality is the world has changed dramatically. There are many more opportunities, there are many more challenges. But the system that we have was tailored for a particular point in time. That point in time has long gone. And if you realize this is not a Dominica specific challenge or concern, it is a regional and indeed an international challenge where countries are talking about reforming the system to making it more responsive and adapting it to the present challenges of the world.
Prime Minister Skerrit says although education reform will get underway for pre- and primary schools in September, reform for secondary schools is set to begin at a later date.
I think from September we need to change the curriculum. We need to move away from everything being an exam. We have to promote collaboration, we have to promote cooperation, we have to promote more sports and arts and let children be children and learn in a more exciting conducive environment, an environment that can identify the specific skill and talent of our young people and seek to nurture them, to guide them. Students should be exposed to basic carpentry and basic masonry, etc., so that you have a full gamut of offering, but not all will be in the exam-driven structure. It will allow children to express themselves and to see who they are and whether they are inclined towards the academic or the technical skills, and to ensure that when we graduate them out of the primary school system, then they would certainly be ready for secondary school. And in secondary school, we will already know what is the orientation of the child. So the first step is to seek to have reforms at the early childhood education level and also the primary school level. The secondary school will take some time because it is a little bit more complex. And so we will also be targeting that in 2026. But we will be focusing on primary and early childhood education to seek to have those reforms.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. Minister for Education Octavia Alfred says the consultations on education reform were well received.
We have been having a lot of talk about education reform, about bringing back happiness and making school happy, about cutting down on books and contents for little people, little young classes. So today what we had is there are some things that is something that we need to do now. We may not be able to do everything one time, but we want by September that we can implement a few things. The Prime Minister led us in a conversation with principals and senior teachers. Let's hear from them. We met with PTA executive. The common thing is that some of the same things that we talk about, they too are bringing up the same issues, which means that we seem to be on common grounds on this curriculum is too heavy, and some of the subjects that are supposed to be soft subjects to relax students, they have become stressful because we have some schools testing these subjects. We heard about the structuring of the timetable and standardizing the timetable to a certain extent. And we also heard about looking kind of standardizing the length of the school day for everybody, which would mean something like we do the 4 core subjects before lunch, and students have lunch, and then after lunch we not exactly call them extracurricular activity, but what we call them soft subjects, where children can draw and sing and recite poems and role play and agriculture, stuff like that. And these subjects are not for testing. They are to help students develop their creativity and their problem-solving skills, their teamwork. And we're hoping that we can go back now to schools having choir festivals, to schools having last Thursday in the month should not just be Jeans Day, but it should be a concert where people can dress up and make their own props. And you understand? So some of those things which we hope will help children to be less stressful, will help.
Minister for Education Octavia Alfred. Acting manager at DBS Radio, Curtis Matthew, is calling for greater recognition of employees across Dominica. His call came during the Long Service Award ceremony to 11 employees of DBS Radio Friday morning at the Fort Young Hotel.
For me, today is a dream come true. I always wanted to find a way to recognize these men and women who have stayed with DBS Radio over so many years. When I was appointed acting manager in December last year, I realized that an opportunity came to make that dream become a reality. I want to thank you for accepting to be here to receive these awardees. I'm very happy that you took some time off to be here to receive these awards. What I would like to see the awards do is for a culture to emerge in which institutions and business places in Dominica pay more attention to their employees. I hope the awards will also inspire the recipients to continue to take ownership of DBS Radio, especially at a time when social media continues to challenge radio stations in Dominica and abroad. I also hope that these awards will serve as inspiration for our young broadcasters to see hard work and excellence as key for success in the field of broadcasting.
Acting manager at DBS Radio, Curtis Matthew. The Long Service Awards were presented to manager Cecil Joseph, seasoned broadcaster Stephen Dangleben, programs director Ivona John Baptist Luge, chief technician Dean Thomas, sales officer Shama Lazar and Avenel George, payables officer Juliana Sampson, sales and marketing manager Lynthia Bellot, special announcer Ambassador Leroy Waddix Charles, cashier Joan Henderson, and receivables officer Angelita Dover. Sports editor Gavin Richards also received a special award for his excellent coverage of the Paris Olympic Games in 2024. Another special award went to Creole broadcaster and head of the language department, Kiwana Fontaine Wilson. The acting manager, Curtis Matthew, was also recognized for his 38 years of service to DBS Radio. Stephen Dangleben, who began his service to DBS Radio in 1985, stands as the national broadcaster's longest-serving staff member. He thanked the staff of DBS and the listeners for supporting him over the last 40 years.
I just want to say a big thank you to the Almighty God for giving me life this morning and for being here. And I want to say a big thank you to Curtis Matthew for this award. Curtis, thank you very much. You and I have been at DBS for a very long time, and we have had a very good working relationship. So I want to thank you very much, Curtis, for making this possible for this award. And I want to thank the members of staff of DBS who have supported me over the years. Everybody who have given me tremendous support, thank you very much. To the board of directors, thank you very much. and to our many listeners, who I've interacted with over the years and who have given me tremendous support over the years, thank you very much. I do not know how long I'm going to be here at DBS again. I don't know, but I will do my best to uphold the profession and the level of professionalism and to work for the betterment of the nation station.
Recipient of the DBS Radio Long Service Award, Stephen Dangleman, sports editor Gavin Richards, who received a special award for his coverage of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, thanked his family for their continued support and vowed to keep representing DBS Radio to the best of his ability.
I just want to thank God for giving me the health and strength to do what I do on a daily basis. I also like to thank my wife, Natisa Richards, the rest of my family, Jalen and Paris Richards, because it takes a lot to do what I do, and it takes me away from them for long periods of time. And they have always stood by my side to support my dreams, and without them, I wouldn't be here this morning. Also to my mom, who's not here, but I know she's always smiling down on me. I remember when I got to the Olympics the first time, I broke down, but I just knew that she was watching from above. So your son made it, and your son still has a lot more to go. And my dad as well. Dad, thank you as well. That's my father, Peter Richards. Like I always tell people, I've always wanted to represent Dominica in sports, but I wasn't the best sportsman, but I got an opportunity to do so in media. So I'd like to thank all of those for that. And of course, the sportsmen and sportswomen, because without them, I would have nothing to report on. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be able to report on your successes and your stories and share it with the rest of Dominica. I will always continue to keep on doing my best for DBS Radio. Like I always said, when I walked through the doors of DBS Radio, I knew that DBS was the pinnacle of broadcasting, not just in Dominica, but the entire OECS, the Caribbean, I would dare say too. And I'm just happy that I'm able to play my part in keeping DBS on top as the #1 broadcaster in the Caribbean.
Sports editor Gavin Richards. Dominicans are being encouraged to attend a men's mental health symposium at the University of the West Indies UWI Open Campus on June 21 from 5 to 7 p.m. Organized by the Boys to Men Youth Group, the event will feature 5 speakers sharing insights and expertise and experiences on men's mental health. Free counseling will also be offered by Dr. Edmond Leroy Regist. Speaking on the Creole Heartbeat program, organizer Shervin Dominic said the event aims to bring stigma, or break stigma that should be, and promote open dialogue amongst mental health in men.
Yeah, what I have learned throughout my psychological field is that a lot of our people, we tend to feel like we're supposed to be standing out in society, we're supposed to be fitting in, and that is why a lot of young men tend to fall down the drain, because they see their friend living that high life, they see their friend doing the illegal stuff, they want to fit in that bracket. Whereas as a young man, you're supposed to have your own mind and focus on your own self. A friend not supposed to encourage you to do the illegal stuff that you don't want to partake in. So as a young man, you're supposed to remain focused, because so many young men are falling on the wrong side of life because of bad influence. It messes them up, and then a lot of our young men are so distracted by the outside world, because we don't want to lose our young men. We don't want to have Dominica empty without men, because we find in statistics now we have more women than men. We are losing our young men. I like to encourage all the men out there to find yourself at the UWI Open Campus on June 21st, 2025. Mark your calendar and make it a line, and come be inspired and be motivated by these 4 speakers we have, because I believe in networking, and that's it how we grow as young people.
Boys to Men member and organizer Shervin Dominic. Let's move to news from the region, where Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness has renewed his appeal for young men to end their participation in gang activities, declaring that the government of Jamaica will, quote, eliminate and eradicate every criminal organization operating. In stating that he was appealing with all his heart to the youngsters, the Prime Minister pleaded with them to put down their weapons. He said that the government will eliminate and eradicate every single gang in Jamaica. for the area dons, he said, still operating within respective communities nationally. Holness similarly appealed to them to transition out of crime and turn legitimate by setting up a business. He said the government is giving fair warning. Anyone contemplating murders or contemplating any kinds of activities will eventually be eradicated. He made the overall statements while revealing his efforts to steer young men in his West Central St. Andrews constituency from a life of crime, a move that he said has been contributing to a significant decrease in violence and a more peaceful constituency. Internationally, Iranian state media has reported that Iran has warned the UK not to help Israel stop its strikes on the country. They say that Iran will target ships and bases belonging to the UK, US, and France if they defend Israel against Iranian drones or missiles. Downing Street hasn't responded to the comments. As of this morning, it is understood that the United Kingdom has not taken part in any military action, including efforts to defend Israel against the strikes. We've come to the end of the DBS Major Morning News. The best in sports comes up next. Stay tuned.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Just Mobank me. Here's my ID.
Just Mobank me. It's that easy.
The faster, easier way to bank. NBD makes it easy to bank online, anywhere, at any time with Mobanking. The faster, easier way to bank.
The faster, easier way.
So transfer funds on Mobanking.
The faster, easier way.
To pay your bills with Mobanking.
The faster, easier way.
So order checks on Mobanking.
The faster, easier
Pay employees on Mobanking.
The faster, easier way to bank.
Plus, you can now top up your phone on Mobanking. No need for cash or card. Simply log into Mobanking to top up your phone. Visit nbdominica.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more details.
The faster, easier way to bank.
NBD.
Your partner, your bank.
And joining us live this morning is the special awardee, our very own sports editor following the international cricket going on. Good morning to you, Gavin Richards. Thanks for being with us on the DBS Major Morning Sports this morning. Some news from the cricket scene. What's been going on, Gavin?
Well, good morning, Joseph Fadul. Of course, good morning to the many listeners of DBS Radio. Fadul, we're continuing to monitor the finals of the World Test Championship. And of course, that's between Australia and South Africa. That match taking place in Lords in England. And South Africa, they're inching ever closer to winning this year's World Test Championship final. And of course, as we speak, South Africa, they require just 17 more runs for victory. And they have some 6 wickets in hand. They started off the day in a very good position with only 2 wickets down and requiring just about 60 odd for victory. They've lost 2 wickets this morning. Australia trying their best to, sort of fight back, put up some sort of resistance. But it's going to be, from all points of view, looks like it's South Africa will be lifting the championship trophy in a few moments' time. So let's just recap how we've gotten to this situation. Like we said, it's day 4 of this World Test Championship, Australia and South Africa. Australia batted first, and they made 212. We had Bo Webster getting 72 and Stephen Smith 66. Rabada picked up 5 for 51 for the South Africans. Well, South Africa, in their turn at the crease, they were bowled out for just 138, with Bedingham getting 45 but the Australian captain, Pat Cummins, he picked up 6 for 28 to really put Australia in the driver's seat in that match. Well, Australia batting a second time with a healthy first innings lead. They were, however, bowled out for just 207, and that's 207, a good score given how things were at one point in time, but they had some lower order rallies with Mitchell Stark, Alex Carey, and Josh Hazelwood to get the Australians to 207. Stark got 58 and Carey 43. And of course, that set South Africa a target of 282 to win. And given the context of the match, given how, the South Africans folded in their first innings, the Australians, they would have fancied their chances of dismissing South Africa cheaply. But South Africa had other ideas. More importantly, Aiden Makram and the South Africa captain, Themba Bavuma, they shared a century stand to put South Africa in a very good position at the end of play on day 3. And they are still continuing. That Makram is still continuing. He's not out on 128. South Africa, they're now 267 for 4. They need 15 more runs for victory. And, of course, they look like they're well on their way to that victory. Mitchell Stark has 3 wickets so far for the Australians, but it's going to be South Africa from all points looking like they will be lifting that championship. So the scores as we speak, it's Australia 212 and 207, and South Africa 138 and 267 for 4. This is going to be a remarkable comeback from South Africa after being bowled out for just 138 in the first innings. And as I speak to you, 79 overs completed. They need 15 more runs for a victory.
All right, well, let's see between now and the end of news time or sports time, maybe they may be able to achieve those 15 runs. Of course, we will keep in contact throughout the time. Gavin Richards, once again, thank you very much for that update.
No problem, Judah.
All right, sir. So Gavin Richards giving us that update there, and just 15 more runs to go. And of course, maybe might be able to achieve that before the end of the sportscast. Let's kick off to some football news right now. Petro Caribe, Point Michel and Promex Harlem United had to share the points as the DFA Premier League continued after the international break last night. Malachi Lambard scored twice for Point Michel, as despite being down to 10 men, they were on the verge of all 3 points. But Kasim Pelletier got the late equalizer for Harlem as they were able to secure the 2-2 draw. Tyrese John Baptiste also scored for Harlem. The football action continues this afternoon with Valvoline We United taking on DSFC at 4:30 p.m. and then at 7 p.m. Sagicor Southeast will play Belfast Estate Maho Soca Strikers. Bowling back to some cricket this time with the West Indies. The West Indies head coach Darren Sammy says it is too early to cast judgment on T20 captain Shai Hope and his impact on the team. Hope, who was appointed T20 captain, recently lost his first assignment as captain, losing to England. Sammy says Hope is going to need some time.
And knowing Shai, he's one to understand what is required from him and what he requires from his men. Again, we were just not good enough for long periods throughout the series. But again, the stuff we've done over the last 2 years with Rovman, including Rovman as captain, and how we're looking to move forward. It's just Shai has just captain for 3 games. So I will give him his time. He understands what is required and the direction we're heading, and I will give him his time to try to be the best captain that he could be for us moving forward.
West Indies head coach Darren Sammy. The West Indies will be in action this morning when they battle Ireland in the second T20 match. That match gets underway from 10 a.m. Second Vice President of the Dominica Cricket Association, Liam Sebastian, says he is baffled with the decision to drop both Alec Athanas and Cavem Hodge from the West Indies team for the upcoming series with Australia. Sebastian says that Cricket West Indies has not set a clear picture on the way forward for the team and feels that Hodge and Athanas should have been selected.
Well, obviously disappointing for us, and disappointed by extension Dominica cricket and Dominicans because when you look at the entire selection, you're not even too sure which direction to look or what to say because, you know, Kavem is nominated for Test Player of the Year. He's dropped. Alec and Kavem are number two in terms of stats in the past year. Granted, you may say that the stats are not outstanding, but at the end of the day, they were the best out of the rest. And some of the persons who were selected, it's even baffling as to how they gained selection over persons who would have been playing. So we had discussions on it, and we'll continue to have discussions. Also, the welfare of the players is of utmost importance to us, to keep that drive going. Obviously, they will be disappointed, but it's kind of baffling if you ask, to be honest, as to why they have been left out and how, on what basis that the others would have been selected in a 16-man squad. But I'm not sure what action we can take. Clarification we may look to get, but what we know for a fact is that the players themselves would have the reasons as a standard procedure as to why they were left out. As to if these reasons will be made public, I cannot say for a fact, but we will try our best to see if we can get some further clarification. But I'm not too sure what action we can take in terms of the players not being selected.
Second Vice President of the Dominica Cricket Association, Liam Sebastian. The West Indies women's head coach Shane Dietz is hoping that his team can build on the momentum and look to close out their series with South Africa. The Windies ladies, after a disappointing showing against England, picked up a 6-wicket win over South Africa in the first one-day international ODI in Barbados. The two sides will meet again this morning in Barbados.
Yeah, great to bounce back after a really tough tour in England. But we kept our spirits up. We were trying to take all the positives out of that tour because it was pretty hard, pretty long. But it's good to be home and play in front of our home crowd. We had a good session and a good meeting yesterday, so the girls were really fired up. And also they batted quite well in the power play. For the girls to fight hard and bring that back and pull the score back to a score we could chase was great. And then obviously the two openers went out and destroyed it in the power play, got 70 in the power play, played with freedom and the style of play that we're trying to introduce and play. So that was brilliant. Kiana led the way there. And then obviously Stefani and Glasgow really finished it off at the end there. And great little birthday present for Stefani on her birthday. Obviously, South Africa are a really good team. They're going to bounce back hard and try to come back. But it's a great chance to win a series in 2 games in front of our home crowd here. So hopefully get a lot of people down here on Saturday. Should be a brilliant day. We're going to come out firing and definitely going to put everything in to try to win the game. Hopefully we wrap up the series on Saturday. It would be a great result.
West Indies women's head coach Shane Dietz. Let's move over to some volleyball news. A spot in the finals of the KFC National Volleyball Leagues are on the line this weekend as the competition heads into Game 2 of the semi-finals. Defending women's champs, the Aces will be looking to punch their ticket into the finals when they come up against the Celtics in Game 2 of their 3-match series. Aces lead 1-0 following a straight sets win over the Celtics in the first game. That match is carried for 6 p.m. on Saturday, that's tonight, at the Massac Indoor Facility. Meantime, the Sunrise Men's Division 1 team can earn another trip to the finals with a win over R&D Academy. Sunrise are leading that series 1-0. That game is carried for 8 p.m. tonight. While today, this afternoon at 4 p.m. Saturday, R&D's Division 2 sides can advance into the finals with a win over Sunrise Division 2 team. And on Sunday, defending men's champions Club 1 will take on the Young Vets in Game 2 of their series. Club 1 are leading 1-0. Sunday will also see Game 2 in the Club 1 versus Sunrise Women's Series and Game 2 in the Breakers versus Club 1 Division 2 semi-finals. A national champion will be crowned this weekend as the Dominica Cycling Association stages its national race. The 70-mile long race takes place on Sunday. President of the Dominica Cycling Association, Ronald Charles, says this will be the cyclists' toughest race of the season.
This race is going to be very challenging. It's a national race and it will be recognized by the UCI, which is our governing body. The results of such races are sent to them. So it's an important race, and that is where you become the national champion based on that race. So we're looking forward to it. We are aware that notwithstanding it will be a tough race, but we know that the cyclists will, the riders, they will give it their best. It's from Maboy Bar to Portsmouth Cabridge, back down to Point Michel, and then up to the airport. That is the Kinfield Airport roundabout, and it ends by Marboyd. It's approximately 70-mile race.
President of the Dominica Cycling Association, Ronald Charles, taking us to the end of this morning's edition of the DBS Radio News and Sports. Thank you very much for joining us. A few highlights throughout the day and this weekend. Don't forget, at 9 o'clock, connecting the dots this morning, of course, the Castle Bruce reunion from 9 o'clock right here on DBS Radio, your nation station. Of course, great programming throughout the rest of the day. And don't forget, on Sunday, tomorrow, tune in to DBS at 2 o'clock tomorrow, Sunday, a 100 Great Dominicans production on the late Stanislas Kotska Coffey, who was a well-known pharmacist, an accomplished musician, and dedicated father. Then from 7 p.m., it's Discoveries, the Laku Experience. 7 p.m., host Cecil Joseph and co-host Hartley Adams will speak to Patrick John Alexander. Patrick John Alexander is the CEO and founder of Balambiko, a digital marketing agency which helps companies improve their return on investment as much as 10 times. His story and, of course, about his business will be on this Sunday from 7 p.m. on the Laku Experience. On behalf of the entire news and sports department, I was your presenter this morning. My name is Joseph Fadul.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Just Mobank me. Here's my ID.
Just Mobank me. It's that easy.
The faster, easier way to bank.
NBD makes it easy to bank online, anywhere, at any time. With Mobanking, the faster, easier way to bank.
The faster, easier way.
So transfer funds on Mobanking.
The faster, easier way.
To pay your bills with Mobanking.
The faster, easier way.
So order checks on Mobanking.
The faster, easier
Pay employees on Mobanking.
The faster, easier way to bank.
Plus, you can now top up your phone on Mobanking. No need for cash or card. Simply log into Mobanking to top up your phone. Visit nbdominica.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more details.
The faster, easier way to bank.
NBD.
Your partner, your bank.
Let's now present to you this morning's edition of the Insert of the Package. This morning's edition of the Insert of the Package is brought to you compliments of the wonderful folks at A&A Low Price Center.
A&A Low Price Center in the village of Calabishi offers the best prices for the freshest products ever. One-stop convenient shopping at A&A Low Price Center in Calabishi. For your foods, your everyday needs, snacks, liquor, dry goods, and more. Just about everything located in the flat of Calabishi, directly in the center of the village. Come to A&A Low Price Center on the highway in Calabishi. A&A Low Price Center is family owned and operated. It is fully computerized, VAT compliant, low toll, credit card and top-up capabilities. Stop at A&A Low Price Center in Calabishi today or call 445-7655. Drop us an email at analowprice@gmail.com. A&A Low Price Center in Calibishi, open 7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.